Hey yo everyone, welcome back to a new video. Today we're going to talk about a man, an actor, a legend. One of my personal favorites, we're going to talk about James Dean. So between what I knew and what I didn't know, let's get right into it.
People say racing is dangerous, but I'll take my chances on the track any day than on a highway.
Before talking about some anecdotes I found about him, let's talk briefly about his life and his career, so let's get into it. So James Byron Dean was an American actor who became one of the most celebrated icons and actors of the 20th century. He was born in 1931 in Indiana, and he grew up with his father, a dental technician, and his mother, who was a former teacher. As a kid, he was fascinated by speed in cars. He actually competed in local racing events and even won a few championships. He also developed a love of acting through theater, where he actually did a few school plays, which led him to actually having an acting career later on. A few years later, he moved to California to study to UCLA, just to study acting for about a year, and he actually quickly landed his first commercial role in a commercial for Pepsi, actually. He then made a few television shows after eventually landing his first role in 1955 in East of Eden by Ella Kazan. His first movie gave him the opportunity of considering himself as a rising star in Hollywood. He stood out so vulnerable and perfect for the character. It was just truly impressive to see. So if you haven't seen James Dean's movie, just go ahead and watch all of them. Sadly, there are only 3 because he actually passed away at 24 years old. James' second and next film is Rebel Without a Cause, which was a phenomenon in the 50s because it actually represented the rebellious era of the American teenagers at the time. So it was really a cult icon, and he became a phenomenon at that time. The film starred Natalie Wood and Salmi Neo, with which he actually became close friends with both. Which is always great to hear when you watch the movie and then tell yourself that they got along in real life too. Despite his success, he was known to be sometimes a little bit like his character in Rebel Without a Cause. He was a little, maybe too adventurous and unpredictable, so that means both on set and off set. He often clashed and got in fights with directors or producers. He was a real risk taker, and he actually liked to live his life on the edge, which inspired a lot of people to do the same, a lot of teenagers at the time, which really made him the typical rebellious teenager. He often engaged in dangerous activities such as skydiving and of course car racing, which was his passion at the time. James' third film, in which he had a more of a secondary role, even though it's a very important role, was in Giant, the movie Giant, directed by George Stevens, in which he starred alongside Elizabeth Taylor and Rock Hudson, 2 big stars at the time. The film was a critical and commercial success, earning James Dean his second Oscar nomination, but sadly he passed away before knowing that he had been nominated. So as I said before, and maybe you know it, it's maybe because of this event that he became a cultural icon and he's still such a legend today, is that his tragic death at the age of 24 in 1955 on the 30th of September. Of course, his death was a shock to his fans, of course, to his family, friends, and to the entertainment industry, who lost a rising star and a true talent. What I find incredible about James is that just with 3 movies, he became such an icon and a legend, and he truly was an amazing actor. Now we can talk about anecdotes. There are many fun anecdotes about James Dean that become part of his legend. For example, in high school, when James Dean was in high school, he once rode his motorcycle into high school just to give a speech, causing chaos and excitement, of course, from all the fellow students that were with him. He also took a break from shooting East of Eden, his first film, just to do a drag race, which he won, so that was a good call from him. And another thing he loved, besides from cars, he also loved cats. He was known for bringing a lot of cats on sets, or being seen a lot with cats, actually. What I can tell you about some more anecdotes that I found were actually linked to the fact that he was kind of a prankster at the time. During the filming The Giant, his third film in 1955, he would often do practical jokes on his co-stars, especially Rock Hudson. Such as classical jokes, even in the 50s, such as putting shaving cream in his shoes or just hiding his lunch. James Dean's a bit of a joker. Even at 24, on the set of East of Eden, James Dean actually became close friends with his co-star Richard DeValos. The two actually often went out of set to get in trouble together. They stole street signs, for example, or they just decided to paint them pink. Now, last one that is also linked to painting. I didn't know this, but James Dean also was a painter. He liked to paint a lot. His artworks were actually exposed in several art galleries. He also painted oil on canvas, like this one. I didn't know he made it, but I found it doing some little research. And this one is called The Road to Happiness. It looks a bit tragic. Wow, what a career, what a man he was. It was great doing all this research. It was very interesting to learn all of these things about him. I love him a lot, so I've got a lot of movies from him. Actually, I'm gonna look.
One eternity later.
Yeah, I've got this book about James Dean with a lot of pictures of him and all his life, but there are 3 movies he made on DVD. So I love this book, and this is how I watch all these movies. So for instance, he loved to play baseball too. He was just here in the middle. Don't know if you can see, but he's there. A lot of interesting thing about him when he was younger and his later career, of course, on his 3 movies. So it's really interesting. If you haven't seen the 3 movies that he made, you sure have to, because they're really great and they're inspiring for not even people who just love cinema, but people who just love movies, or people in general. So everyone has to see these movies. They're a really great opportunity to even see how movies were done in the 50s. They are pretty fun to watch. This claps it for James Dean. There you have it. I hope you learned things about James Dean. I sure did. I hope you did too. I'm looking forward to sharing more information about other movies, other actors, other artists in general, or other things. This YouTube channel is really great. I love this debut. If you haven't, you can see my last 2 videos about Titanic and Dune, and my presentation video if you want to. This is my 4th video. I really think I'm really happy of doing this. I hope it's going to continue for a long time. Hope you loved. See you next time. Bye bye.